So this session is part of Final Year Future Week, which is a programme for online career support running all this week. And we have career sessions like this, we have employer panels, we have alumni sessions, and they're all designed to support final year students and recent graduates take their next steps after university. So my name is Jenny. I'm one of the careers consultants here at the Career Service, and I look after graduate transitions. So I support final year students and recent graduates. And today I'm joined with a couple of my colleagues who are also careers consultants at the university, and I'll let them introduce themselves in turn, if that's okay, starting with Louise.
Hi, I'm Louise. Sorry about the background noise. I link with humanities and I'm a careers consultant.
And then we've got Helen.
Shall I just go ahead? Sorry. Hi everyone, I'm Helen Frost. I'm a careers consultant and I primarily support the Faculty of Science and Engineering.
And then we've got Suze.
Hello everybody, I'm Suzanne and I'm a careers consultant and I support the Faculty of Biology, Medicine and Health.
And finally Bernie.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. My name is Bernie Lyons and I support the Faculty of Humanities as a careers consultant.
And we're also joined today by Sammy, who will be looking after the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat and ask your questions. There'll be lots of opportunity for you to ask questions later on, and we'll discuss that now actually. So the structure for today, we've got an hour together today, and in this time we're going to go through the tools, techniques and resources that you can use to gain experience, skills and knowledge as you search and apply for graduate jobs. So my computer has frozen, sorry, but there will be some graphics that are coming up. So today's session is going to be split in three. So for about 30 minutes, I'm just going to give you an overview of the theory sort of behind all the resources you can use to help your graduate job search, to help you apply for jobs, before we stick into how you can develop the skills and experience and how you can expand your network. Then we've got 10 minutes for everyone to go into smaller breakout rooms where you'll have a consultant on hand to answer any questions that you may have. Then it's back to the main room and it's over to yourselves, so you can ask any of the consultants any questions, share any concerns or ask for any advice you need around boosting your employability as you look for graduate jobs. Then we'll have about 5 minutes at the end for close and further questions and how to get in touch. But remember, throughout the session you can use the chat box to ask any questions you have. And before we get started, you'll see this slide at the beginning or the end of a lot of our sessions. And we do want you to remember that the Career Service is here to offer free, impartial information and advice and guidance to students from the University of Manchester. And you can also access the Career Service for 2 years after you finish your course. So we're committed to the principles of confidentiality, impartiality, equality of opportunity, but we are aware that people have had very different experiences of career support and also different experiences of searching for graduate jobs and recruitment processes. So we are here to remind you that we're here for everyone, regardless of who you are or how you identify. And you can actually have a look at our equality, diversity and inclusion pages if you want to find out a little bit more about our policies on that and more ways in which we can help you. And before we get started, can I ask that you all register via the QR code on the screen? If you register, we'll be able to send you a copy of the slides afterwards. You'll probably receive them tomorrow. As we go through the presentation, you'll see that it's a presentation, but it also works as a kind of workbook because there are a lot of hyperlinks to resources. So if you want to be able to access all of the resources straight from the PowerPoint, please do register. Sammy, if you wouldn't mind just putting the bit.ly link in the chat as well. Don't worry if the QR code doesn't work, just register via the bit.ly link. Okay, so we know that while you're applying for graduate jobs, it's really important to continue to prioritise developing new skills and gaining new experiences at the same time. You might not have been able to access the same work experience opportunities this year, but there are lots of things that you can do throughout your graduate job search to boost your employability and continually improve your CV. But of course, the first step is knowing where to look in the first place. So that's why I thought I'd put this slide in at the start. So graduate jobs, including sort of graduate internships, graduate schemes, usually fall into two categories: advertised and hidden. Advertised opportunities tend to be easier to find because the clue's in the name, they're promoted, but because of this, they can be a bit more competitive. And even within this category, graduate jobs, they're not all advertised the same. So here, you see what I mean about hyperlinks, there's absolutely loads of them. So here we've got a list of certain examples of where you can find advertised opportunities. So there's your national job sites like Indeed and Reed, but you know, just use these as a supplement to your graduate job search because they have lots of great roles on there, but just remember that they won't necessarily all be of the same quality and they might not be looking specifically for students or graduates. And then we've got our specialist graduate job search websites like Target Jobs and Prospects, and these sorts of websites advertise your student, your graduate internships, placements, graduate jobs, and then within that there's sector specific websites, so for individual industries, and we actually have a list of over 200 targeted graduate job searches by sector on our website, so that's worth looking at. Along the same vein, there's your professional body website, so you'll know about these if your course is accredited, for example, but they can be really useful if you're interested in a particular occupational area like marketing. So make sure to look at the official accreditation body's website. So that would be the Chartered Institute of Marketing. But that's just one example. There's lots of others. Of course, LinkedIn, we talk about that a lot. So LinkedIn, with a lot of organizations promoting opportunities on their social media platforms like Twitter or Instagram, as well as their own individual websites. Recruitment agencies can also be a useful way of finding graduate jobs. Some specialise in specific sectors, you know, like IT or finance or engineering, and others maybe specialise in particular roles. So it could be IT again, it could be administration. In the UK, just remember that agencies can't legally charge you for helping you to find a job, but we have a bit more information about that on our website. And then last but not least, we have Manchester Graduate Talent, MGT, which sources paid graduate level work for 2020 and 2021 graduates from the University of Manchester. All the roles are in Greater Manchester, they're across a variety of sectors, and we actually have 2 sessions about MGT on Friday. We have one employer networking session, and we also have an alumni panel. So if you want to find out a bit more about that, remember to register for the sessions on Friday. Then there's the hidden job market. So Louise, my colleague, has done so many great videos about these, and I've linked to the YouTube recordings for more detail because we could really talk about the hidden job market all day. But that's more when you're being proactive. You can look for jobs that aren't advertised widely or maybe even at all. You know, just remember that just because jobs aren't advertised doesn't mean that they don't exist. Sometimes you need to take that leap of faith, reach out to people, ask the question and tell them what you have to offer. And this is very common in competitive industries like design and environmental work, and media and charity. So to tap into the hidden job market, again, this is just a flavour, it's important to make use of your network. We'll cover more about this in a little bit. You should also maximise LinkedIn, connect with employers and alumni working in the areas that you're interested in, connect with careers consultants and other colleagues at the university. But particularly alumni, they can be very helpful in providing insights into specific industries or graduate pathways. And you can use the alumni tool on LinkedIn to search for relevant alumni in your dream roles. And of course, social media plays a massive part in finding hidden jobs. So organizations have their own LinkedIn, they usually have their own Twitter or Instagram, Facebook accounts, even TikTok or Snapchat. But before approaching employers on social media, have a look at our guide, maybe on how to build a professional social media presence and use it more effectively to your benefit in order to sort of develop your network and find or create your opportunities. It's estimated that about 70% of roles are secured through a speculative approach and through networking. So speculative applications are a very legitimate way to secure a graduate job. Just remember, it's important to be clear about what you're looking for, what you can offer, and do your research, and targeted approaches are absolutely essential. And as I said, we could have a whole session on speculative job applications, but as a starting point, have a look at our website. So when you find the job or the job that you want to apply for, or jobs, it's time to apply. So we have loads of support and resources available to you now and for 2 years after you finish your course. Your first port of call is usually always the website, where you'll find loads of resources on applications, all kinds of interviews, assessment centres, psychometric tests, everything. It is a real treasure trove, the website. Graduates and students can also access CareerSet, which is our online CV checker, and it's absolutely brilliant. So you can use it to score your CV. It gives automated personalised feedback, aim for a score of 70 or above. And you can also use it to target your CV. So you can get personalised feedback on how well your CV is tailored towards a particular job description. For one-to-one advice on your application or cover letter or personal statement or LinkedIn profile, you can book a 20-minute application advice appointment with one of our application advisors. For video interview practice, we've got Shortlist Me, Graduates First, and you can also book a one-to-one practice interview with a careers consultant. These are usually about 30 minutes on Zoom. So both application advice appointments and interview simulations can be booked on Career Connect in the same way that you would book a careers guidance appointment. So on to why you're here. So how to boost your employability while applying for jobs. So let's start with skills. When you find a job that you're interested in, have a look at the job description, and you should find a list of essential criteria, perhaps some desirable skills or knowledge or experience. So I would suggest start by marking off the skills that you have already. So think about your course, your extracurricular activities, your volunteering, societies, part-time work in retail or hospitality, summer jobs, employer visits, work shadow, insight days. All these things can provide you with a whole host of skills, from communication, attention to detail, research, to things like teamwork, leadership, delegation, self-motivation, and organisation. So chances are you will have a lot of skills already from that job description. And we have an employability audit that can help you think about the skills that you already have and how you can give evidence as to when you've acquired or strengthened or utilised those skills in general. So considering the skills you do have and being able to identify the ones that you need to develop is actually a really great exercise in self-awareness. And you can use profiling for success on our website to access a range of questionnaires, including like a personality and career inventory, which can help you work out your skills, strengths, and preferred ways of working. So that's really important to do, so you can take stock of the skills that you have already. Then, once you've highlighted the skills that you do have from the list of essential and desirable skills, you can move on to the ones that you need to develop. Before discounting the job just because you don't have all of the essential skills, stop and think, okay, how can I develop them now from home? So there are a couple of ways you can develop skills, as it says there. So we have a list of free and low cost online courses on our website, and they can be accessed anytime from anywhere. So Google Digital Garage offers courses in data analysis and digital marketing. There's Future Learn, which has hundreds of free courses in a huge variety of areas like sustainability, project management, market analytics, coding, and the Open University also has a diverse range of free courses covering subjects like psychology, there's languages, innovation, management, and law. So that's just an example of some of the course providers. As I said, they're all the list on our website is low cost or free. They take varying times to complete. So some could be completed in an hour, others maybe would take 3 or 4 hours a week. Taking part in competitions as well can require you to work in like to work to a tight schedule to produce something innovative, and to work to a brief or to write a report, which are all great skills to put on your CV, even if you don't win the competition. So we have a list on our website, but just be careful because some of them are only open to current students, whereas some are open to students and graduates. You can sometimes even win money or work experience, so it's definitely worth considering that. And of course, volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to experience different sectors and jobs. You can gain skills like research, analysis, decision making, and commercial awareness. And you can also give back as well as building new contacts. So, for example, websites like Do It offer volunteering opportunities by postcode as things are opening up. So you might want to get some face-to-face volunteering, and there's also lots of sort of online and remote volunteering opportunities available, which I'll cover in the next slide. Okay, so you can also gain experience even from home, which you can put on your CV and talk about in interviews. So part-time work is a great way of earning money, obviously, and gaining practical experience and skills that you can reference in job description. So never shy away of including part-time work in your CVs or your applications. Sometimes I hear from students and graduates who are a bit reluctant to talk about perhaps their part-time work in retail or hospitality because they don't think it's relevant, when actually this kind of work can be used to evidence key skills that employers are looking for. So if you think about, say, if you work in a shop, you can illustrate customer service, communication, responsibility, professionalism, conflict resolution, and time management. Whereas if you work in, say, like a cafe or a bar or a restaurant, that's great evidence: teamwork, organisation, task delegation, flexibility, and multitasking. All these skills are really, really good. And my colleague Tahira has written a fantastic blog post about the benefits of online volunteering, including examples of where you can get this type of experience. So, for example, the UN need volunteers at the moment for research, writing, art and design, project and volunteer management and healthcare. Translators Without Borders need language experts for translation support to NGOs, and even missing maps might be of interest if you have any cartography skills. And then, of course, we've got our internships and graduate apprenticeships, which are great ways to gain much needed experience. So they make it possible to earn a wage while acquiring first-hand knowledge of a job or an organisation. And they are useful in terms of building a network of contacts, and can sometimes even lead to permanent employment. So MGT is a great example of a graduate internship programme. And then, as I said in the last session, virtual work experience. So virtual work experience is fantastic to put on your CV, but not many people know about it. So it can help you to develop your skills and boost your employability and explore new industries and job roles. So to start with, I would recommend that you start with Forage, which is an online resource offering virtual work experience programs designed by leading companies in all sorts of areas like climate change, design and branding, there's commercial law, human rights law, cybersecurity. Each of the programs are free and you can complete them from home in about 5 to 6 hours, and you can do as many as you want. They're totally free for students and recent graduates from the University of Manchester. You don't have to apply for them, and you get a certificate of completion at the end that you can put on your CV and your LinkedIn profile. And of course, online events, which you are in at the moment. So you can find a huge variety of online events on Career Connect. Remember, you can access Career Connect for up to 2 years after you finish your course. And we have employers coming to us all the time wanting to engage with our students and graduates. And we regularly run alumni panels like Meet the Professionals. And we also have specific club events, for example, the Media Club. So all that sort of stuff is to do with boosting your employability, because you're networking, you're finding out more about yourself, you're finding out more about industries, organisations, and you're expanding your network of employer and alumni contacts. And on that point, when you attend these events, remember to connect with the employers or the alumni speakers on LinkedIn. So this is a really good tip. So just make note of the organisation or and the speaker name, and connect with them on LinkedIn using like a follow-up note, just to thank them for their time, and say that you enjoyed the session if you did. Alumni in particular are usually very willing to help fellow alumni, and they can provide really excellent insights into specific roles and organisations and sectors. So I was talking about the alumni tool on LinkedIn, where you can find alumni from your course working in your preferred sector. And we also have lots of alumni profiles on our graduate careers pages. So all of these things can help you gain insight into particular areas, and that can help you plan how you can get the skills and experience that you need. So, and speaking of building contacts and expanding your network, here are a few more ideas on how you can boost your connections. So I've already mentioned about registering for events through Career Connect. Organisations can use Career Connect to advertise their events, and the Career Service also regularly organises workshops and panels and sessions to help you network with employers and alumni. Over the course of Future Week, we have 16 different events. You know, we have an employer and alumni panel full of professionals within the creative industries tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We have our online graduate recruitment fair on Thursday, which has over 30 employer exhibitors with live graduate vacancies that you can talk to. You have to register in advance, so just search Future Week Fair on Career Connect to register for that. And we also have Manchester-based employer and alumni events on Friday if you're interested in starting your graduate career in Manchester. Some professional associations also offer free open events for prospective members, so look out for, as I said, like industry-specific organisations like the British Psychology Society, the Institution of Civil Engineers, Justice, which is an organisation for those interested in working in the legal sector, the Historical Association, the Incorporated Society of Musicians. There's absolutely loads. The Chartered Institute of Marketing, the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy. There's loads. So do follow their newsletters, follow their blogs, and go along to any events that you can. And during any sessions, as I said, make sure that you note down the names that connect on LinkedIn afterwards. And also, looking at your LinkedIn, make sure that you're connected with like lecturers, course mates, friends, family members, career service staff, and we have lots of advice on how you can create a professional LinkedIn profile and use it effectively to develop your network. Also remember to follow relevant organisations or employers that you're interested in on social media, because they could promote upcoming events, and also you can get a better gauge for the type of opportunities that they have, the types of skills and personalities that they're looking for and qualities that they want to see in a person, and then do that employability audit and think to yourself, okay, I have these, I can evidence these. What do I need? What are the skills that are missing? How can I further develop them, either through virtual work experience, volunteering, part-time work, maybe a graduate level apprenticeship or internship. Just remember that your social media, it should reflect a professional image. So, you know, goes without saying really, but remember that there shouldn't be any inappropriate handles or images, and be careful about what you post, because a lot of employers can check applicants' social media accounts to make sure make sure to check your privacy settings very carefully. And you can also use these platforms to engage directly with the content of your preferred employer. So, comment under things that they post, engage, start a conversation. Just make sure to engage politely, obviously professionally, with excellent spelling, grammar, and communication in general. So, there's a lot of ways you can boost your skills and experiences while looking for graduate jobs, but it can be difficult to do simultaneously. So it's essential to manage and track your time carefully. So organisation here is key. I would suggest dividing your time into manageable chunks and prioritise what you need to get done, whether that's finishing a cover letter, updating your LinkedIn, applying for an online volunteering opportunity, or even doing an hour of a virtual work experience programme or online course. And you can also track your job application and skills process using something like an Excel spreadsheet. And remember constantly to celebrate small wins, as Samantha said there in her quote. So, perhaps you completed a virtual work experience program, or you got to the next stage of a recruitment process. Celebrate those wins and those small victories. Another good way of managing your time is to concentrate on the quantity of applications, the quality of applications over the quantity, as Liam here states, who's a STEM graduate. So there's no point in wasting hours and hours on applying for hundreds of jobs with the same CV. Instead, take the time to tailor your applications to the role that you're applying for. Tailor every CV to the role that you're applying for. Use the resources on our website. Use CareerSet. Book an application advice appointment if you need it. And take the time to research the employer and evidence each of the essential skills listed on the job description and the desirable skills as well if you have them. And remember, after you do complete a virtual work experience program, update your CV. It should be a working document, not a static document. So remember to update your CV, your LinkedIn profile with any sort of virtual work experience, completed volunteering or online courses that you complete. So now we've got about 30 minutes for questions. So for the first 10 minutes, you'll be in smaller groups and you'll be with a careers consultant in a breakout room. This will give you the opportunity to turn on your camera or your microphone if you want, and ask any questions that you might have. If you don't want to turn on your camera and mic, that's fine. You can just use the chat box. So you'll each be with a careers consultant, and then for about 10 minutes, after 10 minutes, we'll bring you back to the main room where you'll be able to ask the whole panel any questions that you might have, and also you can listen and learn from other people's questions as well. So I'm just going to stop sharing for one moment and just give me a couple of moments while I put you in breakout rooms. We've still got 15 minutes, so please do ask your questions via the chat. So I have a couple here. They're being sent as direct messages, which is fine. I'll just read them out, but you can send them to the whole group so everyone can see them. So a question here: for students completing an MSc and finishing around September time, when do you think is the best time to start applying to jobs, since there's still 3 months until September? That's a good question. Does anyone want to take this one, or?
I don't mind giving that a go. I would probably say the earlier the better. I mean, it obviously depends what sort of role you are applying to. So if it is just a job in a company, then probably 3 months isn't that far off. You know, when you break it down in terms of their recruitment process, and them having to shortlist and then interview a few people, and then there'll be some people that just have a notice period. Actually, you're not far off with 3 months, but sooner the better. And I think if you're doing either a degree or a master's qualification, I think a lot of employers are cognizant of that, so they know that they might have to wait for you. So just make it really clear on your application when your course is due to finish.
Great. Thank you, Helen. We have a couple of questions about international applicants and the visa sponsorship, and there's some concerns that employers are unaware or uncertain about the new immigration system and graduate immigration route. And there's also a question here: do you have any advice for international graduates looking for work in the UK? So I'll maybe try to tackle that one, and then if any of my colleagues want to add anything else. But we have a section on our website. Sam, if you wouldn't mind just posting the link to the working in the UK after study pages on our website, and that has loads of information about the new graduate route, the skilled worker route, which was the tier 2 visa, the tier 5 exchange visa, and startup visas. I would recommend having a look there as a starting point. And the career service, we can provide sort of basic information signposting to these options to work in the UK after study, but we're not legally authorised to give guidance on visas or support with visa applications. But if you do need specialist advice on visas, you can search for an immigration solicitor by location and legal issue that you need help with, and that's on the Law Society's website. But we are working with, as that this person has pointed out, the new graduate route is new. Some employers are still getting used to it, but we are working closely with the employers that we work with to work through the system and to help them understand the benefits of how the system can really work for them and how they can access great talent through that new graduate route. So awareness is being raised around this as employers become more comfortable, more aware of what it is and how they can use it to their advantage. Would anyone like to add anything to that? Oh, sorry, I did forgot. If there are any international students that have any sort of specific questions, we'll do our best to help. If it's sort of like a very specific question, your best bet would be to book a guidance appointment with a careers consultant, and we'll do our best to help in that sense.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that was great, Jenny. I think that there's just so much information that you've shared. But as the student was saying, this is new to employers, and I think it's going to be particularly the case for small, medium-sized enterprises, businesses employing fewer than 250 people. So I don't think it does any harm when you're applying for an opportunity to simply reference that this pathway is now available to you as an international candidate. And you can even include a link to the government website, so the employer can feel confident that this is absolutely genuine and they can read about it for themselves.
So true. Thank you, Louise. Absolutely. Yeah, never shy away from that. I've got another question here. I've just finished a degree and I'm still unsure of what sector I want to work in. Would you say the best thing to do is virtual work experience? Okay, so that's very common. I'm sure we all agree that we do hear this quite regularly, and it's only really when you try something that you know if you like it or not. So I always think when you graduate, it's a good idea to get as much experience as possible so you can figure out what you enjoy doing and jobs and sectors that interest you. And one of the ways, as you've already said there, is virtual work experience, volunteering. And just remember, when you're not sure of what you want to do, your first job won't be your job for life. You'll change careers and sectors lots of times. And 70 to 80% of graduate employers recruit from across all degree disciplines. So it's okay to try something to see if you like it. We've got, you were asked about any sort of opportunities of blog posts. We have an I don't know what I want to do guide on our website, which explains how you can think more about your skills and your ambitions and your strengths and how these can match to potential sectors. I would also recommend that you have a look at the recording of yesterday's session on non-linear career paths, if you haven't already. Attended it yesterday, where our colleague Vic talks about how you can build a really successful career based on what you enjoy doing, and portfolio careers. You can have lots of different experiences within that. Prospects also have a really good career planner that asks you different questions about what you want out of a job and matches you to different sectors. And of course, if you're stuck, remember that you can always book a careers guidance appointment with us to discuss it in a little more detail. Okay, so let's have a look. So I'm considering going on to be a solicitor, but I did history. Can you tell me a bit about law conversion courses? You're in the right place. We have our law careers consultant here. I'll let Bernie take this one.
Hi. Yeah, a lot of history seems to have a really good link with law. A lot of lawyers come from a history background, so it's quite a common transfer. We're going through a transitionary period at the moment. I think my best advice to you would be to perhaps book a guidance appointment or connect with me. There are different ways of going through to qualify as a solicitor. I think the most important thing is, before you start to think about conversion courses, and this is possibly what you've already done, is the reason why you want to be a solicitor, and speak to as many solicitors as you possibly can to try and really get a good understanding of what it is that they do every day. I think that's quite a critical thing. The other thing as well, that often the conversion providers, so BPP, ULaw, Barbary, they have really good outreach. So if you get onto their websites, look at the legal pages of our website, and I'll put that into the chat, that link, and that'll lead you out into all sorts of resources. But these guys have great Now they're virtual, you don't even have to go anywhere, and they are reaching out and they're giving you lots and lots of information and really nice little networking opportunities that can really, you know, form the basis of some really good research and contacts and networks to make sense of it, because it can be quite complicated. So I'll send you that link, and I would probably book a guidance appointment just so you've got all your ducks in a row, and it can get quite, I won't bore everybody else with it here. Okay, I'll send that link here.
Can I just say, I link with history and absolutely support what Bernie has said about it being a very popular career choice for history graduates. So as Helen put in the chat at the start, you're very welcome to connect with all of us on LinkedIn, which then means that you're one person away from all our connections. If you connect with me, then you'll be one person away from lots of history graduates, and you could do a search for history graduates who are now successfully working as barristers or solicitors, and you might be able to just connect and say, you know, any advice you could give me would be terrific. That's just, you know, sort of a shortcut way of doing it.
Thank you. We've got another question here. How long can we access the career service after our graduation? For 2 years after your course completion date. So you can access all of our support and resources and services for 2 years after you finish your course. There's a question here. I haven't been able to get any lab experience this year because of the pandemic. How do I explain this in applications or even make up for it? Suze, I don't know if you want to take that one.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is a really common problem, and it's very frustrating when the reason you came to uni was to do a lab-based subject, just to find yourself stuck at home doing it virtually. I think it's about two things. First of all, it's making the most of what you have done at university on your CV, because it's partly about the techniques that you're comfortable with using, but also about the understanding about good laboratory practice. Because if you want to try and get some work experience, then what's going to be important is how trainable you are. And if you can show that you can keep a tidy lab book, you can put together some good charts, you understand the processes, health and safety, it makes you a little more attractive as a newbie in their lab to do that. And I think also it's about trying to find whatever you can in terms of reaching out. Now, what you might want to do is maybe try approaching smaller companies, because they're more likely to have capacity for you. And if you are in this situation trying to build lab experience, you know, you can, and often we find that students have quite kind of specific criteria that they might be looking for. Again, as we said, you've got access to careers guidance where it can give you specific advice. So if you're going to be moving to the northeast of England and you're tied to a geographic area but are keen to build your skills, we can perhaps talk about ways that you can find that kind of experience. But I would say with anyone who's doing a technical degree, is make sure that your CV includes the practical techniques that you've done and not just the high level modules, because employers, when they're looking for work experience or for short-term kind of roles, want to know what you can actually do. And so make sure those are clear there. And similarly, if you're on LinkedIn, for goodness sake, and this is a tip for everybody on LinkedIn, when employers use LinkedIn to look for candidates, they'll often filter against skills. So make sure that skills section is actually populated with things you can actually do. And don't put things in like communication, because what does that mean? But make it specific. Report writing, presenting, if you're a bioscientist, PCR, gel electrophoresis. If you're an engineer, you might put in there some of the technical skills, the CAD skills that you've got there, because if I'm looking for someone to work in CAD, that's how I'm going to be looking to find you, not because you've done a module in something. So when you are looking for experience, and it is tricky when you don't have as much experience as you would have at this stage, it's looking for other ways of doing it. And it might also be about analysing results, because you might find maybe some kind of dry lab experience out there, not just wet lab. But as I said, you know, think about it broadly, make sure you're selling yourself properly, but also think about talking to us as well. We can help.
Great. Thank you, Suze. There's somebody who's studying maths but wants a graduate job in technology. Do I need a computer science degree to get a grad job in IT? Helen, do you want to take that one?
The short answer is no. I think the majority of the employers that I have had conversations with are more interested in someone who's got passion for that particular area and has the right skills to be able to do that. So it's more your softer skills, like your problem solving, your ability to analyse effectively. So with a maths degree, there's a lot of crossover there. But you've probably got to think about how you can demonstrate that you're really passionate about working in computer science. So if you've not already, think about what you do outside of university. So do you know how to code, for example? And if not, there's loads of online resources where you can get started and get involved in that. Join some of the online communities where people get together and talk about coding. I think there is some information on our website about this again, so have a look on there. But the short answer is no. There's also, I think this week, I don't know if it's happened, Jenny might be able to help me, tech careers for non-tech people.
Yes.
Jess, back over to you.
Yes, that was yesterday, but don't worry, it was recorded, so it'll be on the Career Service YouTube channel next week. Great, thank you. Thanks, Helen. There's loads of questions. I want to go into journalism, but I don't have a journalism degree. I do Spanish and French. Are there any postgraduate courses you would recommend, or do I need a master's? I guess, Louise, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So most journalists don't have a journalism degree, but more than likely they will have a postgrad journalism qualification. And there are two accrediting bodies, the NCTJ, National Council for Training of Journalists, and BJTC, Broadcast Journalism Training Council. Now they accredit courses at undergrad and postgraduate level. So if you go onto their sites, in fact, better still, start on the Which Careers section of our website, and I'll put a link in the chat, and we've got really detailed information about journalism. The key thing is to try and get some experience. I run the Media Club, and we've got a Media Club Facebook group that you can access via the homepage of the Career Service website, and we post opportunities that we come across on that group. So join today if you haven't already, and have a look through current posts, but some older ones, because some of them are timeless suggestions for how to get work experience. You might also benefit from a one-to-one guidance appointment. So if it were of me or any of my colleagues, we'd be interested to know what kind of journalism appeals to you, what experience you have so far, and then we could guide you in terms of how to get suitable experience, what organisations to reach out to, and where you would find out more about courses.
Great, thank you. We are approaching the end of the session. Someone has just said, hi, I was wondering if you could touch on what to include in cover letters. So I'll take that as the last question. Writing a cover letter, I've just found the link to our resources on the website for cover letters that I'll put in the chat. But basically, your cover letter in a nutshell, it should be set out like a business letter, a formal business letter with your address and your contact details and the organisation's address and contact details. And there are 5 main sections. So you've got your introduction, who you are, what role you're applying for, how you found out about the role, and then at the very bottom you've got your conclusion. In the middle you've got the three whys. Why the organisation? Why are you applying for the organisation? What is it that appeals to you about that organisation? Why do you want to be a part of what they do? Why the role? Why are you applying for that role specifically? What is it about it that attracts you to that role? Why do you want to do it? And then why you, which is the largest section, and pick 2 or 3 of the essential skills listed in the job description and evidence how you have those essential skills. Why are you going to be a great candidate for this role? We do have a cover letter session in a couple of weeks. It's like a workshop where we take you through. Myself and Sammy are running it. So if you just search cover letters on Career Connect on the events section, I would maybe recommend signing up for that. So it's 4 o'clock now. I am going to share my screen just to show you a couple of last minute bits and pieces. It'll only take a minute and then we will close off. Thank you so much for all of your questions. If we didn't get round to answering a question, don't worry, because we have another Q&A tomorrow, and there's going to be much more time for questions there. If Sam, you would mind posting the link to it in the chat. It's called Conversation with Careers, New Graduate Q&A, and it's basically, we'll just be going through your questions. So definitely register for that if we didn't get round to answering your question. So can everyone see my screen okay? Great, okay, so that's just a reminder that obviously this is our second day of final year Future Week. We've got loads more sessions tomorrow and Friday, and we've got our graduate recruitment fair on Thursday, which is called Future Week Fair. So have a look at the programme if you haven't already, and register for any sessions that you want to attend. The majority of the recordings will be available on the Career Service YouTube channel next week, but not all of them. It depends on alumni and employer preference. Certainly all the Career Service led ones, like the one today, will be. So it's always best to attend if you can. And remember to stay connected with us. So as I said, if you have just finished your degree, you can continue to access us for the next 2 years. So I've included QR codes to graduate career support, our social media channels, and how you can book one-to-one careers guidance, because I know there's a couple of questions there that maybe we need to look into in a bit more detail and on that personal level. So thank you so much for listening. As I said, tomorrow we've got our graduate Q&A, so come along to that to ask your questions. If you have a burning question and I just can't wait till tomorrow, you can contact us via the live web chat, which is staffed Monday to Friday, 10 AM to 4 PM UK time, not including weekends or bank holidays. And you can also ask us a question via the queries tab in Career Connect. So that is us. I'll stop sharing now. Thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you for your messages. I'm so glad that you found it useful. That's brilliant. And do get in touch if you need anything else. And take care. Thank you, everyone.